All right, we are now going to create our first spreadsheet, and it's also going to have formulas in it. You'll see what that's all about here in just a second. First thing I need you to do, though, is go to your shortcut, and let's open up Excel. And I'm going to use the little slider down here, and you can use this too if you'd like. This little slider is like a zoom. If you pull it to the right, your spreadsheet will get a little bit bigger if you're having trouble seeing it or what have you. All right, as I mentioned before, and as you saw in your notes, that these spreadsheets are made up of something called cells. These are the little boxes. And each cell has its own address. And you'll notice right here, it displays the cell address, and every cell has a different address. Right now, I am in cell C4 because that is where column C and row 4 come together, or what we call intersect. And you can always tell that your cell has been selected because it's going to have this dark frame around it. And as all that means is the cell is ready to accept information. So in typing your first spreadsheet, you're going to click over here in cell A1, and you're going to type NBA Finals. Okay, and just enter. And you're going to get a handout for this. You're not going to have to do this off of the screen. You'll get a handout. And this is just the very last game of the 2015 NBA season. Some of you may have watched it. And what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the cell where I want the information to go, and I'm pressing enter. Now, some of you are going to notice when you do this, this cell is not big enough to hold all this information. So whenever you want to resize your cell, there's a couple ways to do it, but I always go up and put my mouse right between the column A and B in this case. I'll just double click, and then it will automatically stretch out so that it'll accept the information. So you're going to continue, first of all, typing this sheet. All right, now that we've finished typing the spreadsheet, we've got all the information in the correct cells. The next thing we're going to do is a little bit of formatting changes, and what formatting just means is that we're changing the appearance of some of this information just to make it look a little neater. And some of you, if you remember from Microsoft Word in the 7th grade, some of this should be very familiar to you. So let's come up here to our NBA Finals, and we are just simply going to make this bold. And we're also going to underline. Okay. Let's go ahead. We're going to highlight from cell A3. Just hold the left button down over to B3. And we're going to do three things here. We're going to do bold, underline, and remember our alignment buttons. We're going to go ahead and click where it says center. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do the same thing for the Cavaliers. Bold, underline, center. And also, I want you with total, which is in cell A13, I want you to make that bold, and we're going to do a right align here. And if you'll just let your mouse rest, that's our right align. So we're going to do that for the total, also for the Cavaliers. Bold, align right. Okay. All right, so now we've got a nice looking spreadsheet. The only thing we don't have is the total. Now we're going to do something here which is called a formula. Okay, a formula is something that will automatically calculate these totals. All right, the first thing to remember about a spreadsheet formula is you must put the formula in the cell where you want the answer to appear. And as you can see, we've got each player's points, and we want the total points right in that cell. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a formula in that will add all these together. Okay? Now, once we've got this cell selected, it's going to have that dark frame around it. The very first thing we have to type is an equal sign. That's how we start every formula. So if you'll look next to your backspace key on your keyboard, you'll see an equal sign. There's also, on some computers, you'll see it also on the numeric keypad. But we're going to start with an equal sign, and we are going to then put each cell address in. We're going to add the cell addresses, not the numbers, but the cell addresses, so that we can get a total. Now let's look at where the points are. That's B4, okay, and then we've got B5, B6, so on and so forth. So we're going to start putting our addresses in. We're going to put equal B4 and then a plus sign, B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus B8 plus B9 plus B10 plus B11 plus B12. Okay, so once we're sure we've put in the correct formula, then we're going to enter, and then we'll get our total right here, 105. Now, some of you might be saying, well, I know there's a quicker way to do that. Well, there is, but right now we're going to learn the long way so that we can get an understanding of how this all takes place. And then as you get better at this, I'll show you some of the shortcuts you can use. All right, so we've got Golden State. We're just simply going to go down and do the same thing for the Cavaliers. So their total needs to be down in cell B25. Okay, that's where we want the total to be displayed, so that's where we have to put click our mouse and put what we call our cell cursor. So we're just going to do the same thing here, except there's different cells we're adding together. Equal B16 plus B17, so on and so forth, all the way down. All right, so now we've got all of our cells equal B16, 17, so on and so forth, all the way down to 24, and then our answer is going to be 97. Okay, so that's all you need to do with this spreadsheet. We've gotten a lot in on this one lesson. We've got some formatting in here. We've got some basic formulas. So the only thing I need for you to do now is give this, and make sure you name this and save it. Let me make this a little bigger. We're going to name this NBA Finals, and that'll be the name of the file. Once again, it's super important that you save this in a location where you can find it. I would highly recommend that you do it on the network drive. I will still accept it if you save it somewhere else, but that is the safest place to save it. So it's probably a good idea to put it in a folder somewhere where you can find it, and then you're going to go back to submit it. Okay, remember what we're going to do is we're going to choose the file, go to the folder where it's located, I put it in that Huebner 2016. NBA Finals is going to be the name. I see the name of the file right there, submit assignment. And once it's been turned in, I get that green check and I know I'm good. Okay, go ahead and give it a try.